All is one. All is God. There is no God but God. God is love. All is love. These are just some of the statements that you can hear when talking around the topic of oneness, of the topics of unity, non-dualism to be precise. All is one is a very profound statement. It's very simple, it's just one line, but it contains very, very deep meaning. And if you grasp that meaning, it's gonna open up the reality in a completely different way. The perception of unity and the perception of oneness is usually a perception of a certain form of liberation from duality, where you perceive that there are opposite forces fighting continuously for dominance with each other. But once you let go of the perception of duality, you realize that everything is one. All is one, and therefore there are no opposite forces. And as that follows, this very, very interesting idea that comes up, because that means that all of the evil that you experience within your reality is generated by you. That all that you're experiencing, the entire reality that you're experiencing, is a result of your direct creation. You create with your thoughts, words, and actions. But it is important to note that since everything is one, absolutely everything is absolute. Absolute meaning God, meaning love. There are many different tags we can put on the infinite, but it is the absolute itself that governs this reality. And as we proceed upon our path of mysticism, enlightenment, so on and so forth, we sooner or later draw ourselves closer to the oneness, to the absolute reality of existence. As Rumi says, the absolute is the only reality, everything else is just an illusion. And the idea of oneness is present in many different cultures. It is not just in Sufism or just mystical Christianity that you can find absolute, or the idea of oneness. There are many different cultures throughout the world that talk about it, one of which would be Taoism. And as such, we can read the following. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Tao Te Ching. I've stated in my previous videos already that it is impossible to put a word upon the infinite, to put a word upon the absolute itself, because the moment we try to name it, we try to box it in some sort of frame, we completely lose its unfathomable nature within which it exists. However, thanks to the mystical experiences, to the direct experiences, we can get little glimpses that expand our consciousness and allow us to, at least in a minuscule way, grasp the infinitude of the absolute. As Rudolf Steiner puts it, the oneness of the world is something that cannot be understood with the intellect alone. It must be experienced directly in order to be truly understood. Knowledge of the higher worlds and its attainment. So as you see, there are many different people who have come across the ages that have spoken about the possibility of oneness within reality. They stress the importance of the direct experience as a result. One thing that you can come to a conclusion is all the different cultures and religions talk about oneness or unity in one way or another. However, somehow each culture has at least a little bit different idea of how to get there. Most cultures have certain overarching principles of how to get there, whether it be meditation, different forms of meditation like prayer, chanting, mantra recitation, or energy work, the one I personally enjoy the most. But as Manly P. Hall very greatly have said, the absolute is the divine ground of all being, the ultimate reality that transcends all form and manifestations. Manly P. Hall. Meaning that no one way of drawing yourself to God, no one way of trying to directly experience the absolute is fundamentally correct. Each one of us is a different shade of the infinite light, and so different structures, different exercises are necessary and required in order for you to have that experience. There is only one God, and I will circle around this idea a little as we explore the different quotes, different statements within different religions. Because as Meister Eckhart has very nicely said, God, the Absolute, the one and all, cannot be apprehended by any faculty of feeling or understanding. Which means, my friend, no matter how much I speak about this, I'm not going to be ever able to express it, because the moment I have a direct experience and I wish to give you that direct experience, I'm going to coat it with logic in order to structure certain sentences. And the moment I do that, we're going to lose the essence of it. And therefore, what I'm going to give you is going to create more confusion rather than clarity. The truth cannot be said, it cannot be conveyed, it cannot be shown. The truth can only be directly experienced, and this is something that I put very big emphasis upon with regards to all the exercises, that they all will eventually lead you to start having direct experiences of the Absolute, where the Absolute is revealing more and more onto you, so that your consciousness expands and you can gain a deeper meaning of it. And even though we do all these mystical experiences, we have to remember one thing. The Absolute is above and beyond all that can be experienced and all that can be known. Thomas Merton. And so even though we're having these wonderful, amazing mystical experiences, it is impossible for us to actually grasp the full extent to which the Absolute emanates within physicality. What it does give us is absolute feelings of bliss, ecstasy, peace, and the ability to walk through this life holding these states of experience within ourselves. Because the Absolute is present in all things and all beings, but it's beyond all names and forms. Ibn Arabi. But it is not just the religions of the world that talk about these things. We can find them in many different other fields. Recently, with the development of quantum physics and quantum entanglement, they have also stumbled upon oneness. The theory of quantum entanglement suggests that everything in the universe is connected in a fundamental way, and that separateness is an illusion. The Divine Matrix by Greg Branden. And so, in my eyes, in my understanding and my perception, there is only one God, there is only one infinite, there is only one absolute, and all these other names, yes, there are certain names, but the moment you put a name or a tag on the infinite, on the absolute, you are speaking about a certain emanation, you're speaking about a certain face. And so all of these gods that we see dancing around different religions, all of the different pantheons and so on, are also just emanations and embodiments of the one infinite being, the oneness that exists and pervades all things. As you can read in Shintoism, the deities of heaven and earth, the myriad things, all possess the same life force. To serve as their steward is to receive the blessings of their harmony and to aid in their fruitful abundance. The sacred isle of Onogoro. And so, for now, I have danced quite chaotically around this idea that absolutely all is one. But I hope that you're starting to see that different cultures and different religions all talk about one, all talk about absolute in some way, shape or form, giving different names to try and describe the transcendent one being, even if they do root themselves within pantheism or within duality. It is important to remember that most sacred texts are written in such a way so that regardless of the state of consciousness you are in, regardless of the state of awareness that you're perceiving the reality through, these books are designed in such a way so that you can always find something useful for yourself, regardless of where you are. Even such practices as Wicca have stated about the oneness of the nature. All gods are one god, and all goddesses are one goddess, and there is no initiator, the charge of the goddess. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed, and I shall see you in part 2.